Good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday, April 5th, 2020. Sunday, April 5th, 2020. And we are concluding our third week of our daily isolation experience, collective isolation experience. And tomorrow we begin week 4. And from what it looks like, this is going to last at least another month. So, buckle in. At some point, everybody is going to have to make peace with this. Right? And a lot of making peace with your current situation, with whatever that situation might be, involves sort of centering yourself and becoming mindful and sort of surrendering yourself to things that you have no control over, and focusing on the things that you do have control over. And we have a lot of things that we are still in control of, believe it or not, although sometimes it may seem like we don't. Anyway, quick one today, because it's a Sunday, so we'll do a little light reading. I actually have 2 poems for you to read today. No shout-outs for today, but if you are interested in some shout-outs, please go back and look at the past videos. There's a lot of great authors and poets and musicians that have been mentioned, and they and we are all looking for your eyeballs and an audience and doing our best to do what we do best, which is entertain you. Do we entertain you? So my good friend Linda suggested a couple of poems to read today. One is, an obvious, fantastic, well-known poem by, New England's probably best-known writer, Robert Frost. How could I do this without reading a Robert Frost poem? And you all darn well know which poem I'm going to read, which is Fire and Ice. Yes, it is another end-of-the-world poem, but it has a pretty typical Frost black sense of humor to it that I always like, and we'll do that one first. It's short, as you all know. So, Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Let's try that again. Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to know that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Yeah. So, Fire and Ice, which one, people? Linda also suggested this great poem that I really didn't know very much about by this old sort of English Cavalier poet, Robert Harrick, 17th century poet. And Robert was an interesting guy. He basically was one of the founders of this poetry movement called the Carpe Diem movement, which seize the day, right? Seize the day. So a lot of that old 17th century romantic poetry has to do with, embracing life and, making the best of what you got, that type of thing. Seize the day. And so he wrote this poem called To the Virgins to Make Much of Time. To the Virgins to Make Much of Time, which Linda recommended. And it's a great poem. And it actually has a fairly famous first line, which I'll read. And unlike a lot, I shouldn't say, what I was about to say is that unlike a lot of those sort of 17th century romantic poetry, Robert's poem is fairly accessible. He doesn't use this super flowery language that a lot of them did use. So it's a neat poem. And again, first time I've heard of him, first time I've heard of this poet, and first time I'm reading it. So take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, here we go. Let's do Robert's poem. This is Robert Harrick. To the Virgins to make much of time. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. Old time is still a-flying, and this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying. The glorious lamp of heaven, the sun, the higher he's a-getting, the sooner will his race be run, and nearer he's to setting. That age is best which is the first, when youth and blood are warmer, but being spent the worse and worst, times still succeed the former. Then be not coy, but use your time, and while ye may go marry, for having lost but once your prime, you may forever tarry. There we go, Robert Herrick. It's a cool little poem, isn't it? Yeah, so, he's talking about, make the best of what you got, which couldn't be more appropriate for what we're going through these days, could it? So that's it for today, just a little short one. I want to make sure you are all good as we roll into our 4th week of isolation. I want you all to remember a little proverb that I saw the other day. I'm paraphrasing it, but it goes something like this. If you place yourself, if you put yourself in a place of danger, you can't expect a miracle to save you. If you put yourself in a place of danger, you can't expect a miracle to save you. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in the people that you love and in your circle of loved ones and family and isolation partners. Turn to them for help. And try not to put yourself in a place of danger. And wash your hands. And we will see you in the morning, all right? Have a good one, everybody.